Chapter 1: The Crash. The night the stars fell, Leora's life changed forever. She was a Zenthari, a species known across the galaxy for their luminous violet skin and elongated limbs. Her people were explorers, scientists, healers, but none of that mattered when her ship malfunctioned and crashed on a remote, uncharted planet, Earth. The impact shattered her legs beyond recognition. The ship's medical drones did what they could, stabilizing her, but her injuries were too severe. When the galactic healers arrived, they scanned her, their silver faces impassive. The damage is irreversible. Even with our technology, she will never walk again. Leora's heart sank. On her world, those who could not contribute were cast aside. Without her mobility, she would be exiled, left to wither in isolation. The healers prepared to take her away, not to save her, but to discard her. Then he arrived. Chapter 2: The Human Mechanic. Dr. Elias Carter wasn't supposed to be in the woods that night. He was a prosthetics engineer, a man who spent his days building robotic limbs for wounded soldiers. But when he saw the streak of fire in the sky, curiosity led him to the crash site. He arrived just as the aliens were loading Leora onto their ship. "Wait!" Elias shouted, his voice cutting through the hum of alien machinery. "You're just leaving her." The healers barely glanced at him. "Her condition is beyond repair." Elias clenched his fists. "Maybe for you." Chapter 3: A New Hope. Against all odds, Elias convinced them to leave Leora in his care. The healers agreed, not out of compassion, but because they saw no value in her. Leora woke in a small, cluttered workshop. The air smelled of oil and metal. Elias sat beside her, his brown eyes warm but determined. "I can't promise miracles," he said, "but I can promise to try." Leora had never seen a human up close. They were supposed to be primitive, violent. Yet this man spoke with a quiet conviction that stirred something in her. "Why help me?" she whispered. Elias smiled. "Because everyone deserves a second chance." Chapter 4: The Creation. Elias worked tirelessly. He studied Zenthari anatomy, modified his designs, and tested prototypes. Leora watched in awe as he crafted legs unlike anything her people had ever seen. Sleek, adaptive, alive with technology. But the real challenge wasn't the engineering. It was the connection. Alien biology didn't sync with human tech. The first few attempts failed, sending searing pain through Leora's nerves. Elias refused to give up. "One more try," he insisted. This time he did something different. He didn't just build for her, he built with her. He let her guide the design, merging Zenthari intuition with human innovation. And then, it worked. Chapter 5: First Steps. Leora stood. The legs responded to her thoughts, moving as naturally as her original limbs. She took one step, then another. Her breath caught. Elias watched, tears in his eyes. "You're walking." Leora laughed, a sound she hadn't made since the crash. She ran, leaped, danced. The legs weren't just functional, they were perfect. Chapter 6: The Return. Word of her recovery reached the galactic healers. They returned, their cold arrogance replaced with stunned disbelief. "This is impossible," one muttered, scanning her new legs. Leora smirked. "Not for a human." The healers offered her a place among them, but she refused. "I have a better purpose now." Chapter 7: A New Mission. Leora stayed on Earth, working alongside Elias. Together they built limbs for humans and aliens alike, those the galaxy had forgotten. The healers had given up on her. But a human had seen her worth. And now, she would make sure no one was ever abandoned again.